What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, October 19th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 2-game slate tonight, so let's take a look at the point guard position. So studs on the slate, I like James Harden, Stephen Curry, but the stud I like the most is Russell Westbrook from the LA Lakers playing the Golden State Warriors, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They were middle-of-the-pack defending opposing point guards last year, and Russell Westbrook, he averaged 54.1 fantasy points per game on the season, averaging 36 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. He scored 45, 67, and 52 fantasy points in his last 3 games last year, playing 37, 42, and 34 minutes. He's going to be about 27% owned, projected at 48 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's $9,500 FanDuel salary, $900 less on DraftKings, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 227 points scored in this game. So I like Russell Westbrook here versus the Golden State Warriors. Now, if you want to save some salary at the point guard position, I like Jordan Poole from the Golden State Warriors playing the LA Lakers, who have a good defense overall. They were middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Jordan Poole, he averaged 18.1 fantasy points per game on the season last year, playing an average of 19 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He's going to be about 68% owned, projected at 24 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.9 times value. He's $4,900 FanDuel salary, $100 less on DraftKings. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 227 points scored in this game. Oh, and he scored 31, 15, and 23 fantasy points in his last 3 games last year, playing 37, 26, and 24 minutes. So I like Jordan Poole here versus the LA Lakers. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. So I like Chris Middleton from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing shooting guards, and Chris Middleton averaged 36.7 fantasy points per game on the season last year, averaging 33 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He's going to be about 44% owned, projected at 35.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.5 times value, but I do think he can score 40 fantasy points or more in this one, and he's $7,800 FanDuel salary, $600 less on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 235.5 points scored in this game, and Chris Middleton scored 38, 41, and 58 fantasy points in his last 3 games last year, playing 40, 44, and 43 minutes. So I like Chris Middleton here versus the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if you're looking for a value play, take a look at Joe Harris from the Brooklyn Nets playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards, and Joe Harris averaged 23 fantasy points per game on the season last year, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He's going to be about 53% owned, projected at 21.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's only $4,300 FanDuel salary. He's $1,500 more on DraftKings. So I love that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 235.5 points scored in this game. And he scored 23, 14, and 10 fantasy points in his last 3 games of the season last year. But he played 46, 36, and 37 minutes in his last 3 games. So I like Joe Harris here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. So I think my favorite stud on the slate is Kevin Durant from the Brooklyn Nets playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They gave up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards, and Kevin Durant averaged 46.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 31% usage rate. He's going to be about 35% owned. He scored 71, 43, and 96 fantasy points in his last 3 games of the season last year, playing 53, 40, and 48 minutes. He's projected at 47.9 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he's going to score 50 fantasy points or more and get you close or over 5 times value. He's $10,800 FanDuel salary, $900 less on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 235.5 points scored in this game. And with no Kyrie Irving, that's more usage rate for Kevin Durant. He should be able to rack up those fantasy points. So I like Kevin Durant here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, if you want to save some salary at the small forward position, take a look at Carmelo Anthony from the LA Lakers playing the Golden State Warriors, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They gave up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. And Carmelo Anthony, he averaged 22.2 fantasy points per game on the season last year, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's somewhat of a sleeper pick here, only going to be about 16% owned, projected at 20.5 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 25 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's $5,000 FanDuel salary, but he's $1,100 less on DraftKings. So I like that DraftKings price. And we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 227 points scored in this game. Now, Carmelo Anthony, he scored 27, 15, and 17 fantasy points in his last 3 games of the season last year, playing 22, 30, and 21 minutes. So I like Carmelo Anthony here versus the Golden State Warriors. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Anthony Davis from the LA Lakers playing the Golden State Warriors, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. And Anthony Davis, he averaged 42.5 fantasy points per game on the season last year, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's going to be about 21% owned, so that's a somewhat low ownership on a 2-game slate for a stud like Anthony Davis. And he's projected at 39.7 fantasy points here tonight. I think he can score 50 fantasy points or more in this one. He's 10,000 FanDuel salary. He's 1,200 less on DraftKings. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 227 points scored in this game. So I prefer this play on DraftKings. But I like Anthony Davis here versus the Golden State Warriors. Okay, now if you're looking for a low salary play here at the power forward position, take a look at LaMarcus Aldridge from the Brooklyn Nets playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing power forwards, and LaMarcus Aldridge averaged 25.4 fantasy points per game on the season last year, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's going to be about 28% owned, projected at 25 fantasy points here tonight. That's 6.1 times value because he's only 4,100 FanDuel salary, 200 less on DraftKings. So I like that price on both sites. And we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 235.5 points scored in this game. So I like LaMarcus Aldridge here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, so moving on to the center position, I like Draymond Green from the Golden State Warriors playing the LA Lakers, who have a good defense overall. They've been middle of the pack defending opposing centers, and Draymond Green has averaged 33.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 31 minutes per game with a 13% usage rate. He's going to be about 38% owned, projected at 33.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value, but I think he can score 35 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's 7,000 FanDuel salary, 200 less on DraftKings, and he scored 45, 37, and 44 fantasy points in his last 3 games of the season last year, playing 45, 41, and 37 minutes. So I like Draymond Green here versus the LA Lakers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.